If you were given 15 years to establish yourself in the previous job, why are you giving yourself just 6 months to establish yourself as a coach?
Yeah.
Hi, Cheryl. Good. Thank you very much for the time that you've taken out for this podcast.
Yeah. Thank
And
you for having me. I'm excited.
excellent, Cheryl. So, the discussion that we were having earlier, that people embrace coaching as a profession. They like what they hear. The coaching schools do a fantastic selling, and they enroll people uh, to become coaches. And once they pass out, or even they struggle to get their credentialing, once they pass out, the question mark starts that how do I get, I have learned coaching, but I never learned business. So, what
Yeah.
are your views on this particular aspect? That, okay, I have learned coaching and I now I want to learn how to run a business of coaching.
Yeah. So I think first thing is that a lot of people have um like these big doubts that stop them from taking steps forward. They feel like they need to have like the perfect website. They feel like they need to have the perfect amount of followers on social media. They feel like all these things have to be in place before they can be, successful as a coach. And I say that that's not true. Like you don't really need to have all that. The biggest thing that I talk about with my coaches is visibility. And that visibility means building relationships. It means getting out there and talking about what you do. Another thing that kind of stops people sometimes is they're in a full-time job and so they don't want to talk about their coaching because they're afraid that it might affect their job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there's ways around that as well. Like there's ways to create profiles that are just people that you want to see or want to see you. And anyway, there's ways around those things. But people kind of build it up in their minds as I can't get past this. I have to just keep going the way I am and hope that something happens differently. So yeah, that's where I see that as a big obstacle and something that I help, try to help people overcome.
Yeah, yeah. So I get your excellent point of view. I mean, people start and they want to be perfect before they launch themselves as coaches. So
Yeah.
my way of saying things is that you can't wait for confidence in coaching to start your business. You must start the business as it is because you have learned coaching. You start your business and confidence will come uh,
Absolutely.
as we go on. And one of the myths that people have is that, okay, they have been either successful or they are bored or they are, somewhere down the line reach the state of monotony in their previous jobs and then they switch over to coaching. When they take coaching, they forget that they have 15, 20 years experience in their previous job.
Yes.
And the mental comparison that they always make as, oh, I used to do so well in my previous job. Why am I struggling as a coach? Right? If you were given 15 years to establish yourself in the previous job, why are you giving yourself just 6 months to establish yourself as a coach? And
Yes.
as you very correctly pointed out, go there, build relationships, meet people, and the behavior that we acquire as coaches and the way we talk as coaches, people get intrigued and they start asking, Sanjay, where did you learn to talk like this? And there, I would like to quote the book that we were talking about, Prosperous Coach. Sell the experience of coaching, not the concept. One should
Right.
not talk about that, okay, it is self-directed, solution-oriented, and you will have to find your own answers. I'll ask you questions. People should not try and tell about the concepts. They should say, okay, you want to know what I'm doing, what I am doing in coaching? Do you have 1 hour? And ask them to take out that 1 hour and then coach them, give them the experience of coaching, which they can't leave them. And
Definitely.
I personally feel that one of the biggest requirements of being a coach is to have a client. You may
Right.
have very good communication skills, you may have a lot of accolades to prove that you have the experience of me, a marine engineer, you, a banker. We may have fantastic backgrounds, but to be a good coach, or let's not put the pressure of being good. To be a coach, you need to have a client. And as you said, building relations. So, Cheryl, going forward on your thought process, how does one take the first step to build relationships in a different direction? Say, like you were a banker and you had a lot of relationships in the banking circles. Now you're a coach. Now you need to create relationships in the coaching circles or attract or structure demand around the subject of coaching. How would you go forward with that?
So I think the first thing is that you have to be willing to talk about it. Like, talk about being a coach, talk
Yeah.
about what you like
Yeah.
about being a coach.
Yeah.
Coach some people, like you were saying, and get that experience. Talk about that experience.
Absolutely.
Talk about the experience that the person you coached had, the results. These are things that people are interested in. And if you start doing that and then you start talking about it on social media, you start talking about it at networking events or at, whatever, social events, you get used to talking about coaching. People are attracted to it. And then it gets easier to talk more about it.
Absolutely.
Um,
I agree.
right? Because
Yeah.
you're overcoming that kind of fear of talking about it. And then when you identify as a coach, you definitely have more success than those that are, if hemming and hawing. I maybe I'm a coach, or I'm a new coach, or but once you start talking about it and you talk about those experiences and you give yourself those experiences by coaching people, then you start to feel that confidence, like you were saying, and you start to identify with being a coach. If you can't identify with being a coach, that's a big problem.
Big problem. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
I think those are kind of the basic steps to get started.
I totally agree with you. And one thing I think one must try and avoid is to compare your existence or existing state of mind to what it was when you were getting paid at the end of every month. Yeah.
Yes.
You need to forget that and taking your thought process forward is when you talk about coaching on a regular basis, you build those muscle memories to talk on a particular subject because the brain also requires to create some muscle memories to talk on a subject with authority. And
Right.
to talk on a subject with authority, you need to talk about it first without authority, then build your authority as a process. Not the moment you get an ICF certification doesn't declare you as a authoritarian coach who can do anything possible. You need to start. I think the first thing one must get over is to believe that one needs to make a fresh start, right?
Yes.
And I think it's a very enriching career to be in if you have the patience to go along with it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the other thing though is like what you said earlier is, so that, if you have 15 years of experience in something, that counts. Even if that's not going to be your focus in coaching, whatever that experience is, you've learned other things. You've learned things about people, you've learned things about processes or systems or, whatever that is. Those are things that you can just talk about in general to and connect it to coaching. Like there's a ton of things you can do with your experience to connect it to coaching. And it doesn't have to be very rigid. It just has to be something that flows easily for you.
Yeah.
Um, when you have that experience, use it. Find ways to incorporate it. And it could be the smallest things, it could be insights, it could be things that motivated you, it could be inspirational, it could be anything, but it interests you. And I don't mean just make a laundry list of things. I
Yeah.
mean like things that interest you, that you have some feeling about. Because when we connect with people, it's because they see that we are committed and that we are passionate and that we want to help people in whatever way that it winds up being as a coach. But and then what you talked about earlier as well is the result. So we don't want to talk about what coaching is and isn't. I mean, you do have to do that when you have your formal onboarding or whatever, so people know what you can and can't do. But when you're trying to build a business and get clients, you want to talk about the things that happen in coaching that are exciting,
Yeah.
the results,
Yeah.
right? That
Yeah.
that can come from coaching. And don't sit there and explain the process.
Yeah.
They'll learn
Right.
that soon enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the best part is even during onboarding, personally, Cheryl, I believe that coaching is an acquired behavior. And
Mhm.
as you progress and experience in coaching, you somehow don't maintain two personalities, one as Sanjay and one as a coach. The coach starts living through you.
Oh
So
yeah.
even during the process of onboarding, when somebody says, well, I need these three employees of ours to be coached. So, the natural coach in me automatically comes alive and says, okay, why do you think they require coaching? So when they explain why they require coaching, I ask them, what is stopping you from doing what you are expecting me to do? So when I ask them this question, it starts them to reflect within themselves that what is their inability to carry out what I can do and what they cannot do. And eventually you will not believe it, Sharon, that everybody who calls me to get an onboarding process, the first person to sign up as a coachee is he himself.
Right.
Because
No, I agree. I believe that.
yeah,
I believe that.
because if you have a mindset of curiosity and you say, okay, uh, you don't want to be or don't want me to be a messenger of your bad news. You don't want to tell your
Right.
employees this. So you're hiring me as a coach to inform your employee that he has to improve in certain aspects. Why you or your line manager cannot do that job? And if you want to get over that inability of yours, why don't you give me 1 hour of yours? Let's see what we can do. And when they experience, they say, okay, first, I'm going to be your coach. And mind you, Cheryl, this is one way of upgrading the quality of clients that you have.
Yes.
If you to give you a real example, one of the CEOs approached me and he said, I hire people from the best institutes, but somehow I am unable to convey to them as to what my vision and mission or my growth, mindset towards the company is. So I said, I heard you say that you are unable to convey to them. So who's having a shortcoming? You want me
Right.
to coach them to listen to you, or can we work on the way you convey your messages? And mind you, the CEO of the company would definitely pay me more than the vice presidents of that particular company.
Right.
And the CEO would always be a long-term engagement.
Yes.
And mind you, if you actually, imbibe the coaching behavior within yourself, it's a job of a very patient person. One has to slow down,
Oh, absolutely.
let things happen, and eventually you will land up being a coach. You have to give, I think every profession requires a little bit of a gestation period. And if that gestation period you can overcome, uh, I think coaching can be a very enriching profession to be in. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing though is to what you're saying as far as giving it the time, right? The building up to being a coach,
Yeah.
mindset and practice is that the things that are out there that kind of put a damper on all of it are the people that are out there saying, making it seem like they became an overnight success.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And those are the people that newer coaches typically look at. They look at the gurus that are out there, and they're making $100,000 months and things along those lines, if that's what they're making, but that's what they're saying anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the bottom line is that no matter how that looks, that didn't happen overnight.
Oh, yeah. It does. It didn't. Absolutely not.
I
Absolutely.
mean, typically it's 3 to 5 years when all those gurus, 3 to 5 years, and that's very ones that have very good systems and very good things in place
Yeah.
and money to invest and that kind of thing. It still takes time. It still takes 3 to 5 years. If you don't have that type of investment, capital, and you need to take it slower because you need to work a part-time job as well, then it's going to take you a little bit longer. That doesn't mean you can't have success, but you're not going to be the big guru that's out there and you can't compare yourself to them.
Absolutely. And your part-time investment into yourself will give you part-time results from yourself. So
Right.
if you're carrying out two jobs at the same time, you will get 50-50 from both the places, right?
Right.
And personally, I believe that, most of us, uh, and especially the new coaches, they think a lot that I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I should. And at the end of the day, they think that they've done a lot of work thinking about the the best thing is if one learns to discipline himself or herself by maintaining a log of activities as to what have you done to become a successful coach
Yes.
or to embark upon a coaching profession. Okay, I have done my certification for which I required 60 plus hours or 125 hours. That I have done. Now I'm into the business. First, develop a service mindset that, okay, I am into the business of service. Then draw out some activities and maintain a log. How many new people did I contact? Write it down.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, Cheryl, people feel guilty when they maintain a log because thinking is easy. You keep thinking, you get tired by the end of the day, and you think, oh, I have invested a lot of time or my brain activity in developing my business. But unless it is followed up with practical activities, I don't see people moving forward in their business.
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely true. One of the things we talk about is making a list of money generating activities.
Yeah,
Um, because you can create and you
yeah,
can keep creating and you can keep creating, but is that giving you an income? Right? Is that building your base? Is that, making you connections? Is that ultimately bringing in income? Because the one thing that I see a lot as well, there's like three of the big ones, but the third one is that people don't treat it like a business.
yeah.
And it's absolutely a business.
It is
You have to
business.
start, yeah, you have to start thinking of it as a business. Things
Absolutely.
are just not going to, they're not going to just magically land. Like there's that magical thinking, right? You're
Yeah,
not going to magically land clients. You have to treat it like a business. That doesn't mean that you have to be a top, business person. It just means that you have to do business generating activities
yeah, yeah, yeah.
consistently.
And I think one of the biggest fears that most of the people have is because they've been in a mindset of being employed, they've never got used to asking for money. So they land up doing a lot of pro bono coaching and they feel that, oh, I'm keeping myself busy. They don't realize that when they offer pro bono, there are clients who are taking their services free of cost. And people who are going to take your services free of cost are going to land you people who are going to take your services free of cost. It is only when you start charging. And for that, according to me, one, as you very correctly pointed out, you need to believe that you are into the business of coaching. You need to develop a muscle memory in your mind to say, I will charge $150 for the coaching session. My minimum charges that I charge are $1,000. We will do 3 sessions. And after that, if we feel that the challenge is not good enough, I'll refund your money, but you have to deposit $1,000 in my bank to start my engagement. You should be able to say it like as if you're speaking your name off.
Yes, with
And
confidence and not um I have a little list. It's master your sales conversation. And basically it talks about asking for the work and
yeah,
then stating your rates with eye contact. Don't shrink your voice, don't
yeah,
lower your voice. Just talk as if just say it as if you're having the rest of the conversation.
absolutely.
Um, and then be quiet.
Yeah. And don't push them for an answer.
Right.
And I would just like to add one more thing that one should never speak about their business with a question mark in the end.
Yeah.
You should have authority in your voice. Most of the people say, okay, I am going to charge $150. That means they're not sure about it. They're putting a question mark. Are you ready to pay? That's
Yeah.
the question that they're asking. That's not what is going to get you the money. You need
Right.
to stand in front of the mirror, practice your proposal at least 100 times. The way you say your name, you should be able to talk about asking for money. Because if you can't ask for money, then it's not
It's gonna be a
business at all. It is not
yeah, it's
business.
gonna be a struggle.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a struggle.
yeah. So anything else that you would like to pinpoint that are some myths that people uh, or fears that people go through in the initial stages of their coaching career?
Yeah, I mean, I think that those are the main ones. The other one I wanted to speak to, though, what you were talking about was, when people first get um, certified, and especially if they're doing like a level one or going for an ACC credential with the ICF, that first 100 hours, people are trying to get that very quickly, right? They're just out there giving out these free sessions, trying to get to that 100 hours. They're doing a lot of
Barter
coaching for
system.
coaching, yeah.
Yeah, barter system.
And and that creates a problem.
Yeah,
So you get used to that because 100 hours isn't something to blink at. That's a lot of coaching, 100 hours. So when you're first getting started. So if you spent that whole 100 hours or a good amount of it giving pro bono, or I know some people will do like $5 a session to get around that
yeah,
pay requirement from the ICF, then once you hit that 100 hours, what do you know? What have you gotten used to? What is your brain used to? Free and low cost. Can you build a business on $5 coaching sessions or
yeah,
$10 coaching sessions? No, you can't. But that's all you know now for 100 hours. So now you have to make an even bigger shift than if you would have just started from the beginning. When you start from the beginning charging, that's a shift. I understand that's a shift in mindset, it's a shift in how you speak. You have to build that muscle, but you're starting from there. Now, after 100 hours, if you've done all the free and the $5, now you're starting below that.
yeah.
And you have to work up to that point and then go beyond.
Correct.
So you're doing yourself such a big disservice by doing that.
Absolutely. And I think that is the reason why ICF has very nicely, created some sort of requirements that you need to have 75% of hours of
Right.
paid. They want you to practice being paid. They
Yeah.
just don't want you to practice coaching. They want you to practice coaching profession per se. And coaching profession would mean coach a person because people come to you when you are a serious coach or a paid coach. People come to you with dreams that can make them millions of US dollars. In the scheme of $1 million, where's your $500 in an hour standing? It's nothing.
Right.
There have been times when people said that, oh my God, I mean, you charge too much. I say, okay, if your dreams are small, go to somebody who charges less. But if you dare to dream big, then you come to me and I will evaluate whether, the challenge is good enough or not. So as a coach, you need to create a client filtering criteria. Because if you don't have a criteria to filter your client and you coach anybody and everybody, you may then land up getting paid anything or everything. Right.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
have to be very clear in what you are going to offer. And if you are going to offer that, then the challenge has to be serious enough. And when the challenge is established that it is a serious challenge, then actually, if you go to see, money becomes absolutely insignificant.
Right.
If the established challenge during the part of the agreement is going to be a life-changing a challenge, and a person says, okay, if I get this change with this coach of mine, money will not be a problem. And then when he comes to embark on the journey as a coachee, that person is extremely serious. He's always on time, never miss your session, and he will pay you on time also.
Right.
So these are the things that come to my mind when I
Yeah.
think about the struggling coaches.
Yeah, and it's absolutely right. People who invest, when you give, and I see this all the time in like Facebook groups that I belong to, right? The ones that are looking for their 100 hours.
Yeah,
They'll talk about, oh, I had three pro bono sessions scheduled, to get 3 hours towards my hours, and two of them didn't show up. Well, they're not invested. They
absolutely.
haven't put any money.
Yeah,
They're just trying to help out on some level, right? Some level they might think they're going to get something out of it, but on some level it's just they're trying to help out. They don't, there's nothing invested for them to show up to those sessions. And then the ones that do, there's nothing there for them invested in to get an outcome that would be transformational, right?
yeah, that's fine.
So these are things to consider that if you want to build transformation for people, whatever that transformation is, it might not be money generating, it might be health benefits or something, but ultimately allows them to work or to get money, or you know what I mean? Like there's always another outcome. But if you want to help people with transformation, you have to practice that. You have to do it with people that are committed to it. And
Absolutely.
people are committed when they pay.
Yeah,
But it's psychologically sound concept.
correct, correct. And to get them to a point where they feel that the challenge is good enough. I think that is the onboarding part, right? That
Mhm.
I personally believe that, the moment I walk out of my house to attend for a meeting and it is related to me acting as a coach, I don't take off my hat as a coach. I am not a businessman. I am not a coach. These are not two separate entities. They're one and the same. I meet the CEO or the HR or the line manager or anybody. I am a coach all the time. I'm very curious in saying, what is the challenge here? And once the challenge and the gravity of the challenge is established, then payment becomes absolutely insignificant. They
Yes.
actually say, instead of a coach saying, don't worry about the money, the coachee must say, don't worry about the money. I want the coaching to start now. If you can get the challenge established, and for that, you need to be very good with what you do first. So you need to attend your program very sincerely. But thereafter, what you said makes a lot of sense. Your 100 hours, your 500 hours for PCC, do it with a discipline as a business, as a coaching profession, not just to practice your coaching or getting confidence into coaching. I mean, that is what I would like to, add to what you were just saying, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. And even those that are want to be internal coaches, you still have to sell your services on certain level, right? You want to get hired, then you still have to provide value and show the transformation that you want to
Yeah.
be able to give on somebody else's behalf. So it's the same thing whether you're an internal or an external coach.
Yeah. And for internal coaches, I think they must be extremely clear about the code of ethics. And
Oh yeah.
also, they must be very rigid when it comes to drawing out agreements.
Yeah.
Because,
That's a whole other can of worms.
yeah,
But
because,
yes, those
yeah,
agreements have to be very clearly laid out and enforced.
absolutely. Because, if a junior internal coach is supposed to coach a senior person within an organization, and if the agreement is not solid, then over a period of time, yes, sir, you are right, sir. I mean, all those things start. But
Yeah.
if the agreement is rock solid, and one must be able to let go the assignment in case if he feels that there is a conflict of interest. For
Yes.
internal coaches, I think the conflict of interest is something which they must understand very, very strong.
Yes.
And they must address every conflict in the agreement and ensure that that particular thing is understood by the person who's signing
Right. Yep.
it. Internal coaches is like you correctly pointed out, it's a big can of worms. If we start talking about internal coaches, perhaps we
We'll be
need
here
to have a
forever.
1 hour podcast on that. But
Yes.
yeah, and so people who want to become coaches, uh, why would somebody listen to us and say, okay, if that's going to be a struggle, why should I take this profession, uh, or why should I even start this profession? So, what would you say to people who want to become coaches after listening to us, saying that okay, there are some challenges to put it into business? So, what would we say to the people who want to become coaches?
So I think there's a couple things there. The first one is, you know, there's reasons people typically look for other professions, right? Working for yourself, especially, it is a challenge. I'm not saying it's not a challenge. And there's help out there, which we didn't touch on, but there's help to help you get businesses started. There's business coaches, business consultants. There's a ton of people that can help you with that. Programs. There's all kinds of things out there. Small business programs, whatever. So I would say look at that before you just say, "Oh, I'm so overwhelmed with business." But the other side is that um, is freedom, right? The reason why I got into coaching is I was working in corporate and I was working 50 to 60 hours a week. And I had three small children. I never saw them. I took them to daycare first thing in the morning, crack of dawn, picked them up at night,
Yeah,
ran home, cooked dinner, get their homework done, put them in bed. That was my extent of my relationship with my kids.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I had to bring work home and I didn't, I had to go to networking events for the company, like all these things, right? I didn't want to keep doing that. I was getting old. I was getting I was getting health issues and just not happy at all. And so I wanted a different life. And if you want a different life, then it requires some work. And if I can work 60 hours for somebody else to make them money and them be successful, can I work 40 hours for myself? Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah,
Right? Now I have freedom. I can work those 40 hours, whatever 40 hours I want. I
absolutely,
can schedule, I can structure those hours the way I want to structure them.
absolutely,
I can create freedom with who I want to work with. When I work for somebody else, I have to work with their clients. Doesn't matter who they are, right?
absolutely,
My own clientele, I get to work with who I want and
absolutely.
who I, connect with. There's so much more freedom. And then there's no cap on my income. It's what I generate, right? It's what
Yeah,
I am willing to put out and what my audience is willing to pay. That generates that. So there's a lot of freedom in creating your own business. It takes work, but it's doable work. There's communities out there. You don't have to do it alone. And it's so rewarding in the end because now I'm helping somebody generate those results, me, not my company, not, my boss or whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the big thing that I would put it out there is that
Brilliant,
you can
brilliant,
create the
brilliant.
life you want, the freedom that you want for the
Yeah.
reasons that you want.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very, very beautifully put, Cheryl. I mean, and you know what I personally believe. I mean, I was on the top of the world, and like you, I mean, I had absolutely no count of how many hours was I putting in. But when I did this program, and it was an accidental way that I did this program, where I was leading a team of over 2,500 people. And my company suggested that, try integrating coaching into your leadership. Maybe it'll help you better. So I learned what coaching was. And I took it very seriously. And actually, I got transformed as a coach, as a person. So, according to me, what I believe is coaching is a acquired behavior.
Hmm.
And that makes you a very effective person because coaching is nothing else but a conversation. And I always say that loss of $1 million or a gain of $1 million is at the end of a conversation. So if you learn how to converse in a very structured way or communicate in a very structured way, your efficiency in whatever you do is going to go up exponentially. So
Yeah.
whether you, after attending this program, or your program, my program, or the ICF coaching program, when you acquire a behavior of a coach, whether you want to do coaching, good. If you apply it properly as a business, you will find success there. But I have seen people who have got transformed and they say, if I am going to behave like this as a coach in my existing job, I think I see the benefits of being more efficient here.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I will do coaching on the side, but I am going to use all my coaching competencies and my behaviors that I've learned in my existing job. You must have noticed, you are a coach educator yourself. People come in with a lot of expectations and they believe that one of the only prerequisites to becoming a coach is to communicate well, right? But what they learn at the end is communication is not about talking at all. Communication is all about listening and thinking.
Yeah,
And once they learn the importance of listening and thinking after that, they are transformed people after they finish the program. And that transformation that they get, I think if they apply it anywhere in their life, whether it is their family or it is their business or it is their children, if they apply that communication skill to anybody, I think they will get happiness and success at the end of any conversation.
absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I think there's a lot of professions that benefit from adding coaching. You know,
Yeah,
HR, human resources is huge.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Even like medical communities. I've known one of my coaches was coached doctors and just how their practice transformed by them using coaching skills with their patients. You know, there's a ton of different ways to integrate coaching in different professions.
Absolutely. Just acquiring a behavior of a coach during or by doing this program, yes, it is a coaching profession that we are training you for. But if you just apply it to whatever you do, trust me, I apply my coaching to golf. I play a lot of golf. I apply it to golf, and this when I communicate with myself, I say, okay, slow down, understand what you're going to do. It actually helps me to swing better. So yeah, that's what I've learned. So great, great, Cheryl. I think we can talk about this forever. But if you were to give a couple of messages to the people who are pursuing coaching as a career right now, and they're certified coaches, and a separate message to the people inviting them to this very noble profession of coaching, what would that message be? Two messages for two different groups.
That's tough because you try to narrow it down. But I think for coaches that are getting certified, I think mindset is a big thing, and people talk about it, and then they talk about it so much that you start to think like it's just watered down and it's not really relevant. But our mindset can make or break us, and I think that um, we don't want to be like cocky or anything. We don't want to be too full of ourselves. But when we start to doubt everything and we start to doubt, our worth or our abilities, what we need to do is go out there and find ways to strengthen it, not wallow in it, right? Like not let it take you down. So if you start feeling those doubts, again, there's people out there. Go join a community. Do some activities that are going to bolster your confidence. Reach out to people, build your own community. That's the way, your connections are your community. And that can help you with that confidence.
Yeah,
And if you are past that where you have that confidence, then helping others to do it is a big thing. Like just being a friend or a support to other coaches. We have good community. Coaches have really good community, and I think that that's a big part of it is that we can help each other grow and we can help each other be confident and we can help by doing that we help other people
absolutely.
to be successful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what about the people who want to take up coaching as a career?
Yeah. Um, I would say explore it.
Brilliant.
Don't wait. Just
Yeah.
start exploring it. Meet with some people, meet with coaches, meet with coaching schools. I interviewed 3 coaching schools before I found the one that I was interested in. You can ask questions. You can again join Facebook groups, in-person networking groups. You can call almost any coach up and say, "Can I have a 5-minute conversation or a 10-minute conversation?" We're
Yeah.
all willing to do that, right?
Absolutely.
About coaching.
Absolutely.
So take that first step if you're thinking about it. Don't keep waiting. There was this one person who just joined my last cohort, and I was talking to them for almost 2 years, and 2 years that they waited because of all these doubts. And I was like, just do it.
Yeah.
You just do it, and then you can figure it out. It's hard for you to imagine it if you're not even like taking part in it or participating in anything that's coach related. It just is very foreign, right? There's nothing there that's tangible for you until you
Yeah.
start to do something. So whether that's conversations or taking a course or whatever, just get involved and take that first step.
Fantastic. I think taking the first step is a brilliant message that take the step, jump. And once you jump into the water, I think you will swim. You will not drown. Yeah. And I would like to always say that coaching is a profession where you almost take a pledge that you are going to help other people to succeed, right?
Hmm.
If you have taken coaching as a profession, you've already taken that noble step. And if you are going to help people to succeed, I think charity begins at home. First, learn the art of succeeding yourself. Create a system, create a plan, create a strategy, and follow it. And once you go step by step and you achieve success with every step of the way, you will get that confidence and you will start getting your money. The most important is be patient, but be patient with a plan and a strategy for yourself. And for the
Absolutely.
people, who don't know anything about coaching, I would say this is something when I did coaching, I just realized one thing that why did I not do it when I was in school? Because if I had done it when I was in school, I would have looked, my observation powers, my curiosity would have been at the next level after doing this program.
Hmm.
And just by virtue of enhancing my curiosity and my observation power, so many things that I left unobserved, I would have observed them and perhaps been a different person today. So, okay, it may be late now, but it is better to be late than to be sorry forever. So, I would suggest embark, take the step, and learn or get a mindset of curiosity and develop the observation power that has brought you or got you to the level that you are in right now. So that's what
Absolutely.
I would like to tell people. So great, Cheryl. Anything else that you would like to add to our conversation today?
No, I think we covered a
I
lot.
think we covered a lot, and it was such a lovely conversation. I think we must do this on some other topic, one of in our next session, perhaps. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for